Scotland. It's a fairly small country in the grand scheme of things, with just over 5 million in population and an area of about 80,000 square kilometres. It's similar in size to Czech Republic or South Carolina. Its film industry is fairly small as well, for a long time mostly just acting as part of the British film industry. Organisations like Screen Scotland and Creative Scotland, which help fund film production in Scotland, didn't exist until the latter stages of the 20th century. Scotland itself, though, has been the stage and setting for a good amount of great cinema. Whether it's set in Scotland, has Scottish characters, was made by Scots, or some combination of all three, it's fair to say Scotland has punched above its weight in cinematic terms, given its size. You've probably seen Scotland on screen at some point already. It might have been Scotland in disguise, like Glasgow being used to film scenes for World War Z and made to look like Philadelphia. Or it might have just been a glimpse like in Avengers Infinity War, which had scenes set in Edinburgh and also featured a shop offering to deep fry your kebab, a quintessentially Scottish delicacy.
I know I shouldn't eat thee, but...
Or maybe it was something where Scotland is much more central to the story, like Braveheart or Brave. There's a lot to be said about Scotland and the representation of Scottishness in cinema. Often it exists merely as a romantic backdrop, used for its exquisite scenery, never really exploring Scotland beyond the surface level.
It's a great outdoors! It's fresh air!
That's a topic for another video though. Today my aim is simply to try and expand your cinematic Scottish horizons with 5 recommendations. 5 of the best films from or about Scotland, from the urban to the rural and over a range of directors and time periods. Obviously it's just my own choice of 5 and nowhere near definitive, but I'm confident there'll be at least something in this list for everyone.
Doesn't it make you proud to be Scottish?
It's shite being Scottish!
Starting the list with probably the most well-known pick of the bunch is Trainspotting, a film following a group of addicts, mostly heroin, but in Begbie's case, violence.
Yes!
Based on Irvine Welsh's 1993 novel, which is also well worth reading, the film features an almost entirely Scottish cast and main characters. Johnny Lee Miller is the only exception, but his accent's at least passable. The film is very fast paced, aided by its distinctly 90s soundtrack, and it practically flies by. Ludicrously, some accuse the film of glamorising drug use, but I can't imagine anything less glamorous than diving headfirst into a shitty toilet just to receive some dropped suppositories. I'm sure many of you have seen this already, but this is a film that really boosted the Scottish film industry in the 90s, along with Braveheart, and it has to be mentioned thanks to its quality and its influence. If you've never seen it, watch it, but if you have seen it, watch it again.
Give me a 42-year-old whiskey, Roddy.
Oh, we've none of that tonight, Mr. Mac.
Well, give me 4 8-year-olds and a 10-year-old.
Oh, aye, that adds up.
From urban decay to the gorgeous and glorious countryside Scotland's known for, Local Hero is set in a rural Scottish village in the Highlands called Furness. It follows an American executive from a Texas oil company being sent to Furness to negotiate the sale of the land and property from the locals so that the company can build a refinery there. The film just gives me a feeling of being at home, and I don't even live in the Highlands. It's not just because I'm Scottish myself, the film creates such a great sense of comfort and tranquility, painting a picture of an idyllic, carefree and simple life in a beautiful setting, that it's impossible not to feel comforted by it all. It's also a wee bit odd, with colourful characters both in the small town of Furness and in the scenes featuring the American owner of the oil company, played by Burt Lancaster. The music is gorgeous too, soothing and gentle. I would invite you to spend some time with the people of Furness and enjoy what Local Hero has to offer. It's my favourite Scottish film, maybe it'd be yours as well. This one doesn't really have a lot to do with Scottishness itself, it's just a great film that happens to be set in Scotland. In Under the Skin, Scarlett Johansson plays an alien who's prowling through Scotland looking to lure male victims back to her lair to meet their end. The environments, both urban and rural, do play an important role, but Otherwise, it's all about Scarlett Johansson's performance and the atmosphere created by pacing, settings, and amazing score by Mika Levy. The majority of the cast outside Johansson are not actors. Hidden cameras were even used in some scenes, with Johansson stopping and asking real people in the streets of Scotland for directions and just talking with them. And all this adds to the sense of realism in an otherwise unreal story.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
For what? For work?
No, I need to go meet somebody.
Are you going to meet someone?
Aye.
All right. Well, thank you.
Again, we move to a rural environment, with a film that began a trend for shrewd and underestimated locals outwitting and interfering official power. In Whiskey Galore, a ship is wrecked off the coast of the small island of Toddy and is found to contain 50,000 cases of whisky, supplies of which have run dry in the island due to wartime rationing. The locals resolve to take the whisky for themselves under the noses of customs officials and the Home Guard, and the ensuing battle of wits is engaging and comical. There's also a reliance on the stereotypical notion of a Scot's undying love for whisky, but it's all played to wonderful comic effect. Just take a look at this for an idea how silly it all is.
There is no whiskey.
Whiskey, Usquebaugh. In Gaelic, they call it the water of life. And to a true islander, life without it is not worth living.
And so we come full circle, from the kinetic urban landscape of Trainspotting's Edinburgh to the oppressive misery of Ratcatcher's Glasgow. An inescapable environment, brown and grey, decaying and grim. These are the tenement slums that provide the setting for Ratcatcher. The streets are filled with garbage thanks to a binman strike, and even when that rubbish is cleared away, the tenement still looks miserable, decrepit and dirty. There are hints of greenery, but it's muted beyond all sense of beauty. There's always that faint possibility of getting away, being rehomed, but it seems never to come. It's bleak, but it's real. It's also one of those rare films with Scottish accents that don't sound weird and unnatural, so +1 for that as well. Although that may be detrimental to you if you've trouble with Scottish accents. There are, of course, many, many more films that I haven't mentioned, like The Wicker Man, or Calibre, The Angel's Share, Gregory's Girl, and many more. If you do want to see some more Scottish films, I've made a list, it's slightly larger, but still by no means exhaustive, of Scottish films on Letterboxd. I've also put the link to that in the description. If you've got any suggestions for that list, or you just want to talk about your own favourite Scottish film, please just let me know in the comments.